Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to another of my film reviews. Today's film review is for the 2019 horror anthology film that has just started streaming on Shudder recently, the Mortuary Collection. This is a film that is written and directed by Ryan Spindell and it stars Clancy Brown as Montgomery Dark, as well as Caitlin Custer, Christine Kilmer, Jacob Elordi and James Bachman. Now, as I said, this is a horror anthology film, so you've got a traditional approach here. You've got your wraparound story, which is based in a mortuary that is run by Clancy Brown's character, a very eccentric mortician, and he is advertising for help. And this young lady turns up, seemingly looking to take up the offer of some help. While there, he recounts a number of stories relating to those people connected with the mortuary, the stories of their deaths, to delight and entertain Sam, who is interested in working for him. However, there is a wicked twist by the end. So that's your wraparound story here. You've got the stuff in the mortuary with the telling of the stories, and they connect nicely all the way through. And what we have here is essentially three tales, but there's four tales, but the first one is quite a brief one. I don't even think it's 10 minutes long, the first tale. And it basically focuses on a thief at a party, locked in a bathroom, and decides to try and get in the medicine cupboard. Is a real struggle, manages to get it open, and then wished she hadn't, if you like. So it's alright, it's a nice appetizer for the rest of the film, if you like, but like I say, it's not really much of anything, this story. Now the second tale tells of some college lads, and one in particular, and obviously it's their main conquest, bed girls. However, this one girl that he meets at a party, he refuses to use any protection, and the morning after he will wish that he had used protection, as the roles are reversed. And that's all I want to say on that story. Quite enjoyed this one, quite a lot of fun. There's like a dark humour running through all the stories, and it's really prevalent throughout this whole anthology film, this real dark humour. It really works, and it's more prominent in some tales than others, and certainly in this one here, it's prominent, and it's a fun story, and I really quite enjoyed it, to be fair. The next tale was a very dark one, quite weird, but very nicely done. Quite gothic. I mean, all these stories have got this real gothic look to them, this gothic approach. The whole film's got like a Tim Burton look to it in his earlier work, and it really helps with the aesthetics of this anthology film. I think it's got great production values. But like I said, this third tale is about a guy who marries the love of his life, and he's kind of punching above his weight, if you like. And it shoots forward, and he's then looking after her as she's terminally ill. And he's trying to do his best. However, he is given a get out of jail free card by his GP, if you like, by his doctor. Decides to take it, and again wished he hadn't. It all goes drastically wrong in every way you could imagine. This story. Again, I quite enjoyed it. It was a bit different, a bit gruesome. They've all got layers of gruesome throughout all these stories. They're really dark. But I did enjoy this one. The next one is probably my favourite. And it was the traditional babysitter story with a twist. So you get a teenage girl. There's an insane asylum where there's just been a breakout, where someone's broke out of there. As you can imagine, babysitter, escaped lunatic. What do you think is going to happen? However, this one has a wicked twist at the end of it that I must admit I didn't see coming. So it was a bit of a slow start to this one, and it kind of plays at the backdrop of a babysitter horror film on the TV that keeps swapping between, which I thought was quite fun. Again, I really liked this one. The real thing that stood out for this anthology film is, I don't think there's any real weaknesses here. They're all very watchable. They're all filmed very well. They're all acted brilliantly. Good effects, well written. That's a real great look to them. Really polished look to this whole film, and it's amongst the best anthology films I've seen for a couple of years, I would say. Very, very nicely done. And Clancy Brown is almost unrecognisable as his mortician, and he's wonderfully eccentric and really over the top and brilliant. He still recognises a huge booming voice, and he carries this wraparound story brilliantly. And it's actually probably the best part of the film as well, the wraparound stuff. And that's saying something, because I think all these stories are really, really watchable. And again, the bookend story at the end of the wraparound tale was, and again, I don't want to give spoilers away, a really nice twist to that as well. So it keeps you on your toes, keeps you guessing. Some really fun stories here. And as horror anthology films go, I think it's one of the strongest I've seen for a while. I really do like anthology films. I have mentioned this before when I've reviewed horror anthology films. I like the approach to telling stories. You don't have to focus too long on one thing. You get a 20-minute story, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. And so the pace is usually pretty quick in these stories, easily digestible and very watchable. But sometimes these horror anthology films, if the production values are pretty low and poor, it makes for sometimes a hard watch. That is not the case here. There's a real budget for this film. It's directed nicely. The director's clearly got some talent here and some eye for directing. I mean, it's got a very unique look to it. It feels old-fashioned, like it's in the 60s or the 70s, but it feels modern at the same time. You couldn't pinpoint a time location for it, really. The TVs look like they're from the 70s or 60s, but then there's other things that you watch and make you think, well, it feels like it's more modern than that. So you really can't pin it down. Now, I've struggled a little bit to rate this one because I really, really enjoyed it, and I almost give it a 7 out of 10, but then I thought, well, I can't give you any real massive weaknesses here. It's a really enjoyable anthology film, so I think the most fair score I can give this is an 8 out of 10. And I would suggest to you, if you are a fan of anthologies, to check this one out, because I certainly enjoyed it. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you liked the review. If you did, like and subscribe, and of course I will be back with more content on Screen Stars very, very soon.